Welcome back to ReZero Anime Review, episode number 19. This one being the 33rd episode of the anime, which is called The Value of Life. This one adapts the rest of chapter 4, and from what I can tell, it adapts pretty much the entirety of chapter 5 of book 11. Yeah, we're getting pretty close to wrapping up the book. Now, I had a theory that either that this episode wrap up book 11 or next week. It looks like possibly next week we'll wrap book 11. Yep, and this is only the 8th episode of the season, so as of right now, there's only going to be about 4 or 5 episodes left before we have a break for the series. Well, a break for about 2 months. Actually, more like 3 months. Yep. Excuse me. The episode picks up exactly where last week's episode left off, where Otto broke out Subaru out of his cell, and Garfield was going freaking nuts. Now he's still powering up in this episode, still angry because Subaru's got the witch's scent. Yeah, there's a reason for that. It's the return by death. So they plan to leave, but first he wants Dr. Roswell. This conversation basically is this. They discuss Beatrice in this conversation about the big book that she had in the last episode. It turns out that's actually not a witch's, because asking is she's a witch's cult, a witch cultist. And according to Roswell, no, she is not a witch cultist. The big book that she thought was the gospel, Wolf and Witch Cultist, that actually is basically a book that can tell future magic. And it's one of 2 copies in the whole world. Okay, and the thing is, he says the book doesn't have a name. She just calls it that because it lacks name. Okay. He also asks, Are you sure you're not my enemy? I'm sure I'm your ally after all. Yep. This is a very brief conversation, and also, they don't bring up Eliza in this episode. Nope, no Eliza. Surprisingly. Yeah, they don't bring up that. I thought that's kind of odd, but okay. So, after Roswell, prepare to leave, traveling on Porsche again. And then Garfield shows up, angry. And Super easily points out his obvious solution because he doesn't want to take the witch's trail. Allow him to leave. He's like, nope, you have the witch's trail, I have to kill you. And basically, he fights Ram. He's like, and he says to her, I may be hot for you, that does not mean I won't twist your arm. As for if he does kill her off screen, completely unknown what happened with Rem after that. She starts fighting her, and then he's seen automatically in his beast form, which is similar to his sister's, except he can stand upright. Unlike his sister who actually can just run all fours when she's in beast form. So, he ends up killing Otto, and of course after Otto had basically gone Porsche, and they decided to have the villagers light the way to escape. Garfield catches up with them, kills all the villagers, including Otto. Yep, kill Otto by basically slicing him in half. And it looked like we possibly killed Subaru, and then he wakes in the cell again, like, wait, did it reset? And he steps outside, and it's snowing. And he goes to see where Roswell's staying. The place is empty. I'm like, what the heck? And he wanders on the field for a while. And then he comes across a rabbit with a horn on it. He goes to pet it, and it apparently bites off his finger and his hand. And it apparently bites off his friggin' leg. I'm like, is this Night of the Lepus? Apparently it is. So these bunch of rabbits come right on top of him, and they pretty much eat him alive. And then he wakes up, basically resets back to seeing Amelia. He, of course, is upset because, rightfully so, this is probably the worst death experience he has received to date. And he's screaming, and he bashes his head in. And then he goes back to Witch's party. Yes, Elita, the Witch of Greed, she has summoned to a tea party. And he admits to her about the whole thing, Return by Death. And watches, yeah, nothing happens. probably because he's in her realm, so the return by death does not really affect her very much. Of course, he wanted her to sort of override the vow, where even when he leaves, he doesn't remember her. But from her perspective, it's like, don't enter my memories just to talk to me. Just allow me to retain memories of you. You're like, okay, that seems like a very good idea to do. She actually enjoys that idea. So they come back often. And does he? Yes. Now, in the book I read, book 13, he does a rematch with Garfield. He ends up beating the crap out of him, basically, for the nonsense pull in this book. Yeah, he does this book 13. I know because it was a recent release. I read it online. It's a good book. And the next book, for book 14, is coming out in November, which should hopefully before this next part of the season comes out. Yes, and as of right now, when it comes to I'll get more a little bit later. So, they talk, like asking us which way, overthinking which creed, like surprised to see her, and then he sort of breaks down crying after he basically missed the whole thing, Returned by Death. He thought though he was basically restarting over, and then he just collapses on the ground, and then she comes to him and like, I'm here for you, and that's how the episode ends. In case you're wondering how the book ended, like, it is a very weird ending of what he says to her. She says to him multiple times, and yeah, also when he asks her over, like, thank you, he also touches her hand as he flaps on her arm. I thought that was so hilarious. I mean, it's the first time he's done something that silly since he messed with Beatrice's hair. That was back in the second arc of the series. I thought that was so hilarious. Now, I think the reason why he wanted Ram to come with him was so to meet her sister again. Obviously. But that can't happen here just yet. That'll probably happen again a little bit later. But yeah, that's particularly it for this particular review. Now, in the case of what they're going to adapt next, they're probably going to, as far as I can tell, they're going to adapt Chapter 6 next week. It's completely obvious that Chapter 6 will be adapted next week. And it is possible they might start with Book 12 next week. Yes. And it definitely does look like episode 34 will be the conclusion to the adaptation of Book 11 for the series. And it looks like also right now that where the book's going to go is that it'll go as far as Book 12 before the series takes its break. Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. But yeah, not much to say about this episode. It's really good. Okay, so that's episode review. Would I have time to do One Piece tonight? It's probably not do a review tonight. I'll probably get his review tomorrow. Yep. And that'll probably be my only... Actually, no. There is one video I want to do. It's a Comic Corner. Yep, I have a video ready for that. So, until this next video. Bye.